Hey everyone. Today, we're diving into an incredible tale of bravery, sacrifice, and how the actions of one U.S. Air Force pilot helped avoid a nuclear disaster. This is the story of Rudolph Anderson Jr., a name you might not know but one you'll never forget after today. Back on October 27, 1962, during the coldest days of the Cold War, Rudolph Anderson Jr. soared 14 miles high in the sky, piloting a U-2 spy plane on a top-secret mission over Cuba. His mission? To snap pictures of Soviet missile sites that were way too close for comfort to the U.S. mainland. The Air Force Major had conducted one of the first top-secret reconnaissance missions over Cuba 13 days prior, confirming the presence of Soviet missile installations located within 90 miles from the U.S. mainland. Although this day was not initially planned for Anderson's flight, he made a strong case for the assignment when the mission was added to the itinerary. As part of Operation Brass Knob, Mission 3127 would be Anderson's most hazardous sortie over Cuba to yet because Soviet SA-2 surface-to-air missiles, SAMs, were now in service and war appeared to be on the horizon. Anderson's unarmed, high-altitude U-2 spy plane was a blip on Soviet radar shortly after it entered Cuban airspace. The Soviet military became increasingly concerned as they monitored the invading aircraft because they thought the pilot was taking pictures of tactical nuclear weapons in secret sites close to the American Guantanamo Bay Naval Base. A deputy was informed by Lieutenant General Stepan Grechko, "Our guest has been up there for over an hour. Since it is thoroughly identifying our locations, I believe we ought to issue the order to shoot it down." "Destroy target number 33, Grechko ordered, since the commanding general, the only person allowed to issue an order for the launch of a surface-to-air missile, was nowhere to be found. 2 surface-to-air missiles were launched into the skies near the eastern port city of Baines. One exploded near the U-2. Anderson was likely killed instantly as shrapnel punctured the cockpit, as well as his pressurized flight suit and helmet. The U-2 descended 72,000 feet to the tropical island below. Target 33 was destroyed." Word of the shoot-down quickly spread to the White House Cabinet Room, which had been tense all day due to reports that another U-2 plane had flown over the Soviet Union by mistake, prompting Soviet MiG fighters to race to catch up. The Soviet nuclear missile sites were also almost operational. Paul Nitze, Assistant Secretary of Defense, observed, "They've fired the first shot," and John F. Kennedy said, "We are in a whole new ball game now." In his memoir 13 Days, Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy would later write, "There was the feeling that the bridges to escape were crumbling and that the noose was tightening on all of us, on Americans, on mankind." Kennedy chooses to de-escalate tensions. Kennedy was strongly advised by military commanders to attack Cuba's air defenses the next morning. However, the president didn't want to give up on diplomacy just yet since he had a good feeling that Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev had not approved the downing of unarmed surveillance planes. Anderson's passing cemented both Kennedy and Khrushchev the understanding that the situation was quickly getting out of hand. Sergei, the son of Khrushchev, would later write, "It was at that very moment, not before or after, that father felt the situation was slipping out of his control." Kennedy was concerned that all-out combat would unavoidably follow retaliatory airstrikes. He informed his advisors, "I'm not worried about the first step, I'm concerned about both sides escalating to the 4th or 5th step. And we don't go to the 6th because there isn't anyone around to do so." That evening, the president sent his brother to meet with Anatoly Dobrinin, the Soviet ambassador, in order to propose a top-secret agreement to end the stalemate amicably. While the Americans promised not to invade Cuba and to remove their intermediate nuclear missiles from Turkey, the Soviets agreed to remove their nuclear missiles from Cuba. Major Anderson was the only combat casualty in a standoff that truly had the potential to kill millions of people, marking the conclusion of the most dangerous phase of the Cuban Missile Crisis. When Kennedy found that Anderson, 35, had a wife and 2 sons, ages 5 and 3, it hit home. He had a boy about the same age as John, he informed his advisors. "Your husband's mission was of the greatest importance, but I know how deeply you must feel his loss," Kennedy said in a letter to Anderson's widow, who is 2 months pregnant with a daughter. Anderson became the first posthumous recipient of the Air Force Cross, the service's highest honor short of the Medal of Honor. In his birthplace of Greenville, South Carolina, where he grew up building model airplanes and chose the phrase "good humor" as the clear blue sky of the soul for his high school yearbook, Rudolph Anderson's memories may have faded, but they nonetheless live on. The Major Rudolph Anderson Jr. Memorial was redesigned and first installed in 1963. The city of Greenville, Furman University, and the Upcountry History Museum inaugurated it on the 50th anniversary of his death. 13 engraved granite slabs set into the lawn chronicle each day of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and text panels depicting Anderson's childhood, his illustrious military career, and his enduring legacy of contributing to the peaceful. According to historian Courtney Tollison of the Upcountry History Museum, Anderson's death escalated the crisis significantly. It might have set off a chain reaction of events that, if you follow them to their inevitable ends, would have resulted in a nuclear Third World War. Rather, his passing came as a shock to Kennedy and Khrushchev, forcing them to choose between two courses of action, each with definite repercussions. Rudolph Anderson Jr.'s courage and sacrifice during the Cuban Missile Crisis remind us of the human cost of war and the importance of diplomacy in resolving conflicts. His legacy serves as a testament to the power of individuals to shape history and prevent catastrophic outcomes. Stay tuned for our next video exploring 5 Cold War close calls, where we delve into heart-stopping moments that almost led to nuclear disaster. Join us as we explore more stories of bravery and sacrifice that have shaped our world. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating tales from history.